And now people talk to me, but nothing ever hits home. People talk to me and all the voices just burn home. And this is the red, orange, yellow flicker beat, 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 beat.
Hey guys, it's Tatiana, and for today's video I'm going to be showing you guys 5 different ways to tie-dye. Tie-dye is such an easy and inexpensive way to revamp your old t-shirts and stuff. If you have a t-shirt already, you pretty much just need some dye and you can completely revamp it for only $5. As well, I think tie-dye looks so good for spring and summer because it's so bright and neon. So yeah, so I will be showing you guys 5 different techniques for tie-dyeing. As well, I'm gonna show you guys what kind of dye I use and all the process and that kind of stuff. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. As well, if you make any of these shirts, make sure to send me a picture on social media. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Let's get started. So for this, you're obviously going to need tie-dye, and there are various kinds that I like to use. The first kind is a pre-made dye, and you use this to squirt onto your designs on a table. It gets you the most versatile designs, but it's usually way more expensive. Then there are also liquid and powder dyes, and these ones are typically less expensive, but you can only use them in the bucket method. This method is good, but you can only usually use one color per design. To turn those dyes into the squirt bottle method is so easy. For the liquid dye, you just mix half a cup of the dye with 2 cups hot water from the tap, and then you add 1 tablespoon salt and mix it together. And then I just poured it into a travel shampoo bottle to squirt it onto my shirts and stored the rest in a jar for later. For the powder dye, it's pretty similar. I just mixed 1 pack with 2 cups hot tap water and 1 tablespoon of salt. And with these, if the color is too strong, you can just dilute them with water, which I did do for some of mine. And for all these DIYs, I'm going to write the exact colors I used in the description, just so it doesn't get too complicated, because I did use various colors and brands.
Think I can fly. Think I can fly when I'm with you.
So the first dye pattern I'm going to show you guys how to make is spiral.
Catching fire as the wind blows.
So for this, you're going to start with a wet t-shirt, and you're just going to take a fork and poke it where you want the middle of the shirt to be, and then just twist it up until it forms that kind of spiral. And then you're just going to add some elastics, and it doesn't matter how many you put, but that is where the lines are going to be on your shirt. And then I just went over it with my dye, and I put it into 3 sections equally, and I used neon pink, yellow, and blue. Also, make sure to do the back of the design as well. Then I just put it into a bag and let it sit overnight, and then washed it according to the dye's instructions, and it turned out like this. The next design I'm going to show you guys how to make is crumple. This, you're going to just start out with your wet t-shirt, and then you're pretty much just going to crumple it up randomly. It doesn't really matter how you do this. And then you're just going to go over it with your dye, and then you are just going to put it in a bag and wash it following the instructions in the morning, and then it will look like this. And this one is seriously the easiest one to make ever. Next, I'm going to show you guys how to do a gradient design, and I decided to do this one on a bag, but like all of these, you could do this on whatever you want. So starting out, you want to make sure your bag is wet so all the colors blend together. And for mine, I used 4 colors, so I just filled the bag in kind of stripes with my 4 colors. And then after, I went over where each of the colors met, so the colors kind of overlap. So here I'm going over the purple with the pink and the pink with a little bit of the purple, and doing that with like all the colors so they fade together nicely. Then I did the same thing on the strings and the back of the bag, and I just let this dry. I didn't even wash it. So yeah, and it turned out like this, and I really love this one because it's like the same colors I use for my channel, and I just think gradient is so pretty. The next technique I'm going to show you guys how to do is bunching, but I put a little bit of a spin on it by doing this on an Adidas hoodie. So if you're going to dye athletic clothing, just make sure the logo is that kind of plasticky texture, and then the dye will not go into it. So starting out, the sweater was wet, and then I just randomly crumpled it up and randomly placed elastics on this. For this one, you don't have to worry about it being perfect. The whole point is kind of that you won't know how it's going to turn out until you open it up. So yeah, just know the more elastics that you place, the more white spaces there will be on your shirt.
At first I fought it all. I was so mean, I'm still unsure how it's supposed to be.
And then I took a pink dye, which was a little bit off from the logo, and I just squared that all over it. So then I put it in a bag and let it dry overnight again, and then I washed it and dried it. Once it was done, I wanted to add just a little more color to it, so I took this neon orange fabric spray, which was also similar to the logo, and I sprayed it all over and let it dry. And I think it turned out so nice, and I love how the colors match the logo, and it's really kind of one of a kind and different. So yeah. The last technique I'm going to show you is so cool. I saw this technique on Pinterest and I really wanted to recreate it in my own way, but I'll link the original below. So for this, you're going to need regular white Elmer's glue, and wherever you put this on your clothing item is where the dye will not go. So what I did was kind of like on the border of my shirt, I went around the glue and made little lines that were equal distance apart. I made each one 3 inches apart, and then after I had went around my whole shirt, I just connected all of those lines so it formed a grid. Once the glue is dry is when you can dye it. So for this, you're going to want to use lukewarm water. Most dyes tell you to use hot water, but you do not want the water to melt the glue, so just use lukewarm water and it will work fine. So I filled the sink with that, and then my dye said I should have salt, so I added the salt. As well, I added my tie-dye, and then I just submerged the entire shirt into the dye. I left mine in for 6 minutes, but what you want to do is just watch it the whole time, and just make sure that none of the glue melts and none of the dye starts going in where you've placed the glue. And then after it's done, you can just wash it out how your dye says, and the glue will wash out with the dye as well. And then it looked like this, and I think this turned out really amazing. I didn't think it was even gonna work, so I'm really glad it did, and yeah. And yeah, those are pretty much my DIYs. Okay guys, that is the end of my video. I hope my DIYs help you guys out as well. I just kind of hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about the DIYs, do not forget to leave them below. Don't forget to leave them below, and I will definitely answer them. If you guys recreate any of these DIYs, it would be like amazing if you sent me pictures. And you can do that on Instagram and Twitter, and those are linked below. Don't forget to thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe if you are not already. So that is pretty much it. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye guys!
From the Manatee County Fair, Linda Carson, ABC7. Would you not eat my pants? Ah!